part of learning how to use CAD software is actually learning how to make the part. So we've designed it, and that's awesome, but we actually are going to build some of these. So we need to make sure we have a dimensional drawing, or as we talked about earlier this year, the front, the top, the right side, the ISO. So we're going to take this now and turn it into something that looks a little more like this. We'll start by just taking and making a new drawing. So I went to new, and then I clicked standard, or excuse me, my template that we did the other day. Pull that up. Now I'm going to pull my base view up. Now because I've already drawn this is the last part I had up, it shows up right here. If it wasn't the last part that I've drawn, I could just go up here to the folder, open existing files, and I could find it in my documents or in my file system somewhere, okay? Usually it'll pop up the last thing that you drew. So I'm going to slide this. This is going to be my front view. I'm going to slide it over here. Now you can see all these little triangles here. So I'm going to make a top view by clicking that triangle. I'm going to make a right side view by clicking that triangle. And I'm going to make an isometric view by clicking that triangle. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. What I like to do is make this one the isometric. I like to make this colored or shaded. So I'm going to double click it. And I'm going to select shaded right here underneath the style. I'll click shaded and click OK. So there we got it. We got our basic layout. We've placed our views. The next thing I want to do, and I do this on almost all of mine, is I'll go ahead and get all the center lines and center marks. So to do that, see how the red box has appeared around this view? All I've got to do is hover my mouse over that. And then I'm going to right click on there. And I'm going to say automated center lines right here in the menu that pops up. The things I want to click in, I want to apply to cylinder. I'll make sure that one's clicked for sure. Then over here under projection, I always want to make sure that the view axis and then view axis parallel. So I want to make sure these two things are selected. If I wanted to increase my precision, I could do it right here. So I want to say cylinder and then the two projections. So I click OK. And you notice it puts my center marks. Let me zoom in on that. It puts my center marks on all of those holes. I'm going to do the same thing up here. So now I'm going to hover over this view, right click, and say automated center lines. Same thing, cylindrical. Then make sure both your projections are picked in. And you'll see that it drew some center lines. Same thing on this view over here. Now, I just want to call this out though. This view is essentially the same as that view. So there's really not a need to have both. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start dimensioning some things. I like to go ahead and now I'm going to go up here. I've placed my views so far. And I'm going to say annotate. Now I'm going to go to dimension. I'll say, all right, this line, drag it out, it's 4. This line is 4. Now the problem with that is that whenever possible, we really want to stick these dimensions in between the views. So let's say I messed up. So I'm going to hit the escape key to get out of dimension mode. And then I'm going to click on these two and just press the delete key on my keyboard. Now I'll go back and dimension. So I'll say from here to here is 4. And from here to here is 4. If I'm thinking about what else they're going to need to build this thing, they are probably going to need to know depth here, between these two lines. Now I know that 0.13, that's not a dimension I would use. So what I'm going to do is double click that. And it may come up as text like this, but I can click on precision and tolerance. And I can change my primary unit to be this one, which gives me 3 decimal places. That changes it to 0.125. Now that's a number we would normally use. So I'm also going to say, all right, that's 0.125. Let's go from here to here also. And what I really want is I want these numbers to be inside, right? I want my big numbers outside. I'll show you how to fix that in a second. So let's double click this though. And let's get that primary unit to 3 decimal places. So on this one, what I'm going to do is get out of dimension mode here. So I'll just press escape. And then I'll just drag these down. Well, that's really cluttery right there. So I might move this up and then move this up some. I want to make sure that I'm clear, right? So then I need to know from the center to the side, how much is that? That's 2. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out. So I hit escape again. I'm going to pull the 4 out and dimension again and say from the top to the center. And I need to know that value too, right? Something else I need to think about are where are these located? So I'm going to say dimension. And I'm getting really cluttered up there, so I'm actually going to go, I'll go right here. I'll say from the edge to here, that should be 0.5. And then from here to the center to going down, that's 0.5. But that looks really bad, right? So I'm going to just not put it there. I'm going to hit escape. I'll go over here and say that's 0.5. That's really atrocious looking. So I'm going to escape out of dimension and I'm going to drag this 0.5 down here. And I'll probably scoot this out some too. I really don't want to overlap if I can help it. So I know now that from this edge to the center, the big circle is 2. From here to here is 2. I don't know any diameters though, so I'm probably going to take care of that now. So I'll dimension the big one. That gives me a diameter. I can come up here and zoom in a little bit and do the diameter of the small hole as well. Let me show you something though. On these, because it's a hole, we can tell it's a hole because of the isometric, and there's, we can see through the hidden lines and center lines here. So I'm going to delete both of these. So I just click on them and hit delete. And instead of using dimension on those, I'm going to use hole and thread nodes. So I'll click that in, and then I'm going to come click this circle. And now you notice it gives me a little more too. It says diameter's 2, but it also tells me that it goes through. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And again, I'm on hole and thread right there, right? Now, if I'm looking, I do need the depth of this thing, right? So I know that it's a 4 by 4 inch square. I know that in the middle of it, there's a 2 inch, it's at the center is 2 inches by 2 inches then. And I've got a 2 inch diameter circle that's cut through. I also know where these holes are located. So what I don't know is I don't know the thickness of this. So I'll go up here and I'll dimension that. And I'll just say on this line, that says 0.38. Now again, 0.38 is not a dimension we regularly use, so we would double click that and change it. Remember, it might pop up on text, so you probably have to click precision and tolerance. But we'll change our primary unit to have 3 decimal places. And 0.375 is a number we use regularly. So what I'm trying to find is the actual depth here. Okay, so from here to here. I have no way of doing that, dimensioning that as it stands right now, because I could come in here and I could say, all right, I'll dimension. I'll say, all right, from here to right here is 0.25, and that's definitely it. The issue there, though, is we just dimensioned to a hidden line, and that's a no-no. So we'll delete this dimension. I could go up here and I'm going to run into the same problem. So that means I got to put a view in. I got to put a section view in here. So I'm going to go back up now to place views up here. Okay, and then right here, this is base. We did that one. We're going to use a section view now. So right here, I'm just going to come down and I kind of hover over there so that red box pops back up. And then I'm going to click it. And then I'm going to click and draw an arrow or a line down through there. And then I'm going to kind of make it move over to the left or to the right. See how I did that with my cursor. I'm going to right click and hit continue. That will create that section view. So I'm going to drag it out way over here a little bit. And then I'm going to get this view and kind of spread it out over here now. Okay, so you can see right here, now I can actually see that depth. So I'm going to go back to annotate at the top, dimension. And I'll say from here to here is 0.25. Okay, so now I know what the depth of that is. I've shown it, and I've shown it in an acceptable way. Really, on this view is not showing me anything that I didn't already know, because this view is the exact same as this view, so I don't really need it anymore. So I'm going to kind of highlight this, and I'm going to right click on it and just say delete, and it's going to make sure I confirm it. This is one way of doing it. There's other ways of doing it where it's much quicker and more efficient than what we just did. So there's some questions that I want to look about. I want to think. Do I have my dimensions in between views? For the most part, I do. These probably could be in a different location. It gets into another question of, does it look good? Diameters, do I have all the holes diameter? So this one right here, it says 0.25 through, but I really need to double click that and see how text pops up. And I want to, in all caps, type the word all in because they're all the same. And you can see how it changed there. That lets the builder know, hey, all of these are the exact same. Did I dimension to any hidden lines? No, in fact, we had to make a section view just to make sure we didn't. Do I have any detail views that I need to put in? Probably would have helped here. We probably could have put a detail view in this area. Are there any fillets in this pretty much square? So there's no fillets that need to be dimensions. Do we have any counter bores or counter sinks? And there's none of that in here. Did I stay a reasonable distance away from the borders and other parts? Okay, we're not touching borders. We're not conflicting with different views. And then the other question, and to me this is one of the most important questions, can it be built from this drawing? Could it be redrawn for somebody? Could somebody take this and actually go ahead and create this? So that's a big, huge question that needs to be answered. This video gets you started with taking apart and creating a multi-view for it. It's just a basic introduction. There are much more efficient ways to dimension, and we will cover those in separate videos.